Have you noticed little changes in someone you love? Like they're slowing down or seem off, and wondered if it's just age creeping in? We often think the end comes out of nowhere, but the truth is, the body whispers hints a year ahead and we miss them. Today, we'll uncover 5 signs that could show a loved one's time is winding down. Simple stuff to spot early, so you can care smarter and make every moment count. All right, pals, let's dive into the first sign you might spot a year out. Significant weight loss that sneaks up quiet-like. Maybe you've seen it. Your spouse or parent's belt needs an extra notch, their favourite sweater hangs loose, or they're just not digging into supper like they used to. At first, you might shrug it off. Hey, we all slim down a bit with age, right? But when it's not on purpose, it's a whisper from the body we can't ignore. For us seniors watching our loved ones, this isn't just about looks. It's a clue something's shifting deep down, and it could mean their time's getting shorter. What's going on here? Well, it's not just a picky appetite. The body starts losing its knack for soaking up food. Muscles shrink, strength fades, and systems slow to a crawl. We're not talking a few pounds from skipping dessert. This is steady drop-off. Clothes don't fit, cheeks hollow out, and they're weaker than before. It's like the body's saying, I don't need as much fuel anymore, and that's a tough pill for us to swallow. Maybe they're not hungry, food doesn't taste the same, or they're only nibbling half a sandwich when they used to polish off a plate. That's not just them being fussy, it's nature dialing things back, saving energy for the big wind down. Why is this hit harder now? As we age, our insides don't bounce back like they did, muscles waste away faster, and if they're not eating enough, falls get riskier. Those shaky legs can't hold them up. A little tumble could mean a cold or bug they can't shake off, because their defences are down too. And here's the kicker. It might not just be aging. Stuff like heart trouble, kidney woes, or even feeling blue can steal their appetite, kicking off this slow slide months before we see bigger signs. Ever tried tempting them with pie or a shake and they still turn it away? That's when you know it's not just a phase. Take my neighbour Ed. He watched his wife Clara drop weight over a year. She'd always been sturdy, loved her roast dinners, but suddenly she was picking at meals saying, "Oh, I'm not that hungry." Ed thought she'd bounce back, maybe it was the winter blues. But her jeans got baggy, she tired out quick, and one day she couldn't lift the kettle. Looking back, he saw it clear. Her body was waving a flag, and he missed it. Now, don't beat yourself up if you've missed it too. We're not doctors here, just folks who care. But spotting this early, that's your chance to step in. So what can we do? Don't push big plates, that might upset them more. Go small and easy, soft stuff like mashed potatoes or soup, little bites they can handle. Keep water handy. A dry mouth makes eating tougher. If they're fading fast, chat with their doc, could be a fixable glitch. Or maybe it's time to focus on comfort, not cures. We've got enough to juggle. Creaky knees, grandkid visits, without missing these hints. Noticed your loved one shrinking lately? Hang on, we've got 4 more signs to keep you in the know. Sign number 2, extreme fatigue and sleeping. Has your loved one started sleeping more than usual? Maybe they used to wake up early, ready to take on the day, but now they linger in bed, nod off in the middle of a conversation, or seem exhausted after doing something as simple as walking to the kitchen. You might think, well, they're just getting older, but when fatigue becomes overwhelming, when rest no longer restores their energy, it's a sign that the body is slowly shifting gears, preparing for a different phase. But what if the opposite happens? Some seniors don't sleep more. Instead, they struggle with restlessness and sleepless nights. They might wake up multiple times, have trouble staying asleep, or even experience bursts of energy at odd hours. This happens when the body's internal rhythms begin to shift, sometimes causing an unexpected surge in alertness, even as overall strength declines. It can also be linked to discomfort, pain, or changes in the brain's ability to regulate sleep patterns. Either way, whether it's too much sleep or too little, it's a sign that something deeper is happening. The body is like a battery. When we're young, it recharges quickly, letting us go full speed ahead. But in the final years of life, That battery doesn't hold a charge the same way. The heart isn't pumping as efficiently, circulation slows, and cells don't get the oxygen and nutrients they need as easily. It's not just physical, either. Mental energy fades too. Thinking, talking, and engaging in daily life start to feel like heavy lifting. That's why seniors nearing the end often withdraw, choosing rest over activity, quiet over conversation. This shift isn't always sudden. It can start months, even a year, before the body fully slows down. At first, you might notice a loved one sitting down more often, taking longer to finish small tasks, or falling asleep during their favourite TV show. Then, as time passes, sleep takes up more of their day. They might wake up feeling just as tired as when they went to bed, or they may doze off at unusual times, like during meals or visits. Their body is telling them, let's conserve energy, because it simply doesn't have as much to give anymore. On the other hand, if they can't sleep, their body may be struggling with discomfort, anxiety, or even changes in brain chemistry. Some seniors experience what's known as terminal restlessness, where they become agitated, unable to stay still or pace around even when they're exhausted. If they were once good sleepers but now toss and turn all night, it might indicate an internal imbalance, meshtin, or simply the body preparing for a different phase of life. Now, let's be clear, not every senior who naps a lot or struggles with sleep is nearing the end. But when deep, ongoing fatigue or sudden restlessness pairs with other changes, like weight loss, loss of interest in food, or struggling with everyday activities, it's a signal that shouldn't be ignored. A key reason for these sleep disturbances is that major organs, including the heart, lungs, and kidneys, are working at reduced capacity. The heart may struggle to pump enough oxygen-rich blood, making simple tasks feel exhausting. The lungs may not take in as much air as before, causing breathlessness. The kidneys may not filter waste as effectively, leaving toxins in the system that contribute to weakness. All of these slowdowns create a cycle where the body demands more rest to compensate, or struggles with imbalance, making true rest difficult to find. Let me tell you about my neighbour, Dylan. For years, she was the heart of her family, baking for the grandkids, tending to her flowers, always up for a chat on the porch. But then, things changed. She started staying in bed later, missing family gatherings and telling people, "I'm just a little tired today." At first, everyone thought it was normal aging, but then, even small efforts, like standing up to make tea, left her winded. She wasn't just tired, her body was slowing down. Looking back, her family realised that the extra sleep wasn't just about rest, it was her body's way of preparing for what was ahead. Then there was Robert, who experienced the opposite. He had always been a solid sleeper, but suddenly he was up at all hours. He'd wander the house at night, feeling restless but unsure why. His family thought he was just anxious, but in reality, his body was going through internal changes that made true rest harder to find. This insomnia wasn't just sleeplessness, it was part of his body's transition. So, what should you do if you notice extreme fatigue or unusual restlessness in a loved one? Here are some simple, practical ways to help. Let them rest, but keep them engaged. Sleep is necessary, but too much isolation can lead to emotional withdrawal. Try gentle activities, listening to music, looking at old photos, or simply sitting together in a quiet space. Adjust expectations. If they used to go for daily walks but now struggle to get out of bed, don't push them. Instead, focus on comfort. Offer a cozy blanket, a supportive chair, or an easier way to move around the house. For those who can't sleep, focus on relaxation. A warm bath, soft lighting, and gentle reassurance can help ease nighttime anxiety. Avoid screens and loud noises before bedtime, and try comforting scents like lavender. Make meals easier. Eating takes energy, and some seniors may feel too tired to finish a full meal. Offer smaller, nutrient-rich foods throughout the day instead of large portions. Watch for other signs. If fatigue or restlessness is paired with weight loss, trouble breathing, or increased confusion, it's time to check in with a doctor. Sometimes there are ways to improve their energy levels, and other times it may just be about keeping them comfortable. Create a peaceful space. A calm, quiet environment with familiar comforts can help them feel more at ease as their energy fades or as their restlessness peaks. Fatigue isn't just about feeling sleepy. It's a message from the body telling us that it's shifting into a different phase of life. Restlessness can be just as telling, signaling discomfort or changes in brain function. Recognizing these shifts early doesn't mean we should fear what's coming. It means we have an opportunity to provide better care, to be more present, and to ensure our loved ones spend their final stage in comfort and dignity. So, if you've noticed a loved one sleeping more, or struggling to sleep at all, take a step back and ask, is this just a phase, or is their body telling us something deeper? By understanding these changes, we can respond with kindness, patience, and the kind of care that truly matters. Stay with me, because in the next section, we're going to talk about something even more heartbreaking, when a loved one starts pulling away from family and friends. But knowing why it happens can help you make the most of the time you have left with them. Sign number 3, social withdrawal and emotional detachment. Have you noticed a loved one pulling away, skipping family dinners, staying silent during conversations, or seeming uninterested in things they once loved? At first, it might seem like they're just tired or in a quiet mood. But when someone starts withdrawing from social life, avoiding visitors, and spending more time alone, it's often a sign that something deeper is happening. This emotional and social withdrawal isn't just about loneliness. It's part of the body's natural preparation for the final stage of life. It's not that they don't love their family anymore, or that they've lost all interest in the world. Rather, their energy is shifting inward, focusing on what's happening inside rather than what's going on around them. Why does this happen? As the body slows down, so does the mind's capacity to keep up with external stimulation. Holding conversations, keeping track of time, or even responding to a simple question can feel overwhelming. The brain, like the rest of the body, begins prioritizing only the most essential functions. This often results in a person withdrawing, spending more time in thought, or even appearing distant. There are also emotional reasons for this detachment. Some people, knowingly or unknowingly, begin the process of saying goodbye. They may start to feel like they are in between two worlds, the life they've always known and the transition ahead. This can make social interactions feel less important than they once were. For others, this withdrawal can stem from frustration. They may recognize their own decline, struggling to keep up in conversations, forgetting things more often, or feeling like they have little to contribute. Instead of facing those struggles, they may choose to step back, avoiding situations that make them feel out of place. Signs of social withdrawal: avoiding conversations or speaking less than usual, skipping family gatherings or not responding to phone calls, spending more time alone, often sitting in silence, no longer enjoying hobbies or activities they once loved, seeming emotionally detached, even when loved ones are present. The story to put it into perspective. Let me tell you about John. He had always been the life of the party. He loved storytelling, playing cards, and making his grandkids laugh. But then, things changed. He stopped calling his friends, declined invitations, and spent more time alone on his porch, staring off into the distance. His family thought he was just tired, maybe a little down. But the truth was, John was entering a different stage of life. His energy was fading, and his focus was turning inward. Looking back, his loved ones realized he wasn't ignoring them. He was simply preparing for what was to come in his own way. What can you do? Don't force interaction. If they want quiet time, respect it, but let them know you're there when they're ready. Offer small, low-effort engagements. Instead of big social events, try gentle companionship, listening to music together, holding their hand, or sitting quietly with them. Ask simple questions, but don't press. Sometimes, they may want to talk, but just can't find the words. A gentle, "How are you feeling?" is better than pushing for long conversations. Let them lead the way. Some days they may want company. Other days they may need solitude. Follow their cues. Final thoughts. When a loved one starts withdrawing, it's natural to feel hurt or worry that they're giving up. But in reality, this detachment is often just a part of the journey. They aren't shutting you out. They're preparing in the way their body and mind need to. By understanding this, we can approach them with patience, love, and quiet support. Stay with me, because in the next section, we're going to discuss something even more concerning: how a loved one's body becomes more vulnerable to infections and why recovery takes longer in their final year. Sign number 4, more frequent illnesses and slow recovery. Have you noticed a loved one getting sick more often? Maybe they catch colds that linger for weeks, take longer to heal from small cuts, or seem to bounce back from illness more slowly than before. It's easy to assume it's just part of aging, but when these issues become frequent, it's often a sign that their body is weakening in a more significant way. As a person nears the final stage of life, the immune system isn't as strong as it once was. The body doesn't fight off infections as effectively, and even minor illnesses can take a major toll. What used to be a simple cold can turn into a lingering cough, and a small infection can lead to more serious complications. Why does this happen? Our immune system relies on healthy circulation, strong organ function, and proper nutrition to keep us protected. But as we age, and especially in the last year of life, these systems slow down. The body prioritizes vital functions, sometimes at the expense of its ability to fight off infections. Additionally, seniors often experience slower healing due to reduced blood flow. This can make simple wounds or bruises last much longer than before. If you notice a cut on your loved one's hand that hasn't healed after weeks, or they keep getting infections one after another, it's a sign that their body is struggling to repair itself the way it once could. Another common issue is recurring infections like pneumonia, urinary tract infections, UTIs, or skin infections. These might come back more frequently or be harder to treat, even with medications. You might also notice that when they do get sick, they don't fully recover. Each illness leaves them feeling weaker than before. Signs to watch for: more frequent colds, fevers, or infections that don't improve quickly. Cuts, bruises, or sores that take longer to heal. More doctor visits or hospital stays due to minor health issues. Fatigue that worsens after an illness, making recovery difficult. Medications that don't seem as effective in treating infections. A story to put it into perspective. Let me tell you about Margaret. She was always strong, rarely got sick, and could fight off a cold in no time. But in her final year, everything changed. A small scratch on her leg turned into a stubborn sore, and a mild cold left her in bed for weeks. Each illness seemed to take a little more out of her, and her family started to realize that her body just wasn't bouncing back the way it used to. Looking back, those frequent illnesses weren't just bad luck. They were her body telling them she was in a new stage of life. What can you do? Prevent infections where possible, keep their living space clean, ensure good hygiene, and encourage regular hand washing. Focus on nutrition. A balanced diet with enough vitamins and protein can help support what's left of their immune function. Keep them hydrated. Dehydration weakens the body's ability to fight infections and recover from illness. Monitor small wounds and infections. Don't dismiss a lingering cough, a slow healing cut, or repeated infections. Early intervention can sometimes help. Prioritize comfort over aggressive treatments. At a certain point, the goal shifts from curing to making them as comfortable as possible. Gentle care, rest, and pain management become more important than endless rounds of medication. Seeing a loved one get sick more often can be heartbreaking, but understanding why it happens can help us respond with care and compassion. When their body starts struggling to fight off illness, it's a sign to shift our focus, not just on trying to fix every issue, but but on making sure their remaining time is as peaceful and comfortable as possible. Stick with me, because in the next section, we're going to discuss one of the most visible signs that time is running short: changes in breathing and circulation. Sign number 5, changes in breathing and circulation. One of the most noticeable signs that a loved one is in their final year of life is a shift in how they breathe and how their body circulates blood. You may notice that their breathing becomes more shallow or irregular. They might pause between breaths or breathe more heavily than before. Their hands and feet may feel colder, and their skin might appear pale or even slightly bluish. These changes often signal that the body is prioritizing vital organs, and circulation to the extremities is slowing down. Why does this happen? As the body begins its final transition, the heart and lungs work differently than before. The heart may not be pumping as strongly, leading to poor circulation. This can cause swelling in the hands and feet, a mottled or bluish appearance on the skin, and a general feeling of coldness. Breathing also changes as lung function declines. You might notice periods of rapid breathing followed by slow, shallow breaths. Sudden shortness of breath, even when they're sitting still. A gurgling or rattling sound in the chest, sometimes called the death rattle. Needing to sleep in a more upright position to breathe more easily. These breathing changes don't necessarily mean death is immediate, but they are often signs that the body is working harder to keep going. Take George, for example. His daughter first noticed that he had started breathing through his mouth more, as if even simple movements left him winded. He stopped sleeping flat in his bed, preferring his recliner where he could breathe more easily. His hands always seemed cold, even when he was wrapped in blankets. At first, his family thought he had just caught a cold, but over time, they realized his body was gradually winding down. Understanding these changes helped them focus on keeping him comfortable rather than worrying about why they were happening. What can you do? Keep them comfortable. Soft pillows, a humidifier, or keeping the room cool can ease breathing discomfort. Help with positioning. Sitting up slightly or using extra pillows can make it easier to breathe. Offer small sips of water. This can help prevent dry mouth, which can make breathing feel harder. Reduce anxiety. Sometimes, breathing difficulties make a person feel panicked. Speak gently, hold their hand, and reassure them. Recognize when comfort is the priority. If these changes are part of a natural decline, focusing on peace and comfort is more important than medical intervention. Changes in breathing and circulation are some of the clearest signs that a loved one is in their final stage of life. While they can be difficult to witness, understanding what's happening can help you focus on making them as comfortable as possible. Instead of fearing these changes, use them as a guide for how to provide the most loving and supportive care. This concludes our discussion on the 5 major signs that someone is in their final year of life. If you've made it this far, you now have the knowledge to recognize these changes early and approach them with care, compassion, and readiness. Remember, this isn't just about noticing the signs, it's about making the most of the time you have left with your loved ones. We've talked about 5 key signs that can appear in the final year of life. These aren't just small changes, they're the body's way of telling us it's slowing down. And when we recognize them early, we have the chance to do something powerful. Shift our focus from worrying about time running out to making the time we have left truly meaningful. Many of us have seen a loved one reach this stage and thought, "I wish I had known." We wish we had hugged them more, sat beside them longer, or just listened a little more closely. That's why understanding these signs is so important. It gives us a chance to be more present, more patient, and more prepared. Instead of feeling helpless, we can create a peaceful, comfortable space for them. Sit with them, even if they don't say much. Help them eat what they enjoy, even if it's just a few bites. Let them rest when they need to without pressure. Focus on quality of life over quantity of time. Let's be real, this isn't easy. Watching someone you love slow down can feel like losing them little by little. Some days, you'll feel tired. Other days, you may feel guilty, wondering if you're doing enough. But here's the truth. Just being there is enough. Holding their hand, playing their favorite music, sitting with them in silence. These simple moments mean more than words ever could. You don't have to do this alone either. There are people who can help. Doctors, hospice care, family members, and friends. Lean on them when you need to. It's okay to ask for support. It's okay to feel the weight of this. But through it all, remember, you are giving your loved one the most precious gift of all, your presence. Not everyone follows the same path. Some people will experience all 5 signs, while others may only show a few. And just because these signs appear doesn't mean the end is immediate. Every journey is different. That's why it's always best to check in with a doctor to understand what's happening and what kind of care is needed. This information is meant to help guide you, but it's not a replacement for medical advice. If you're worried about a loved one's health, always talk to a doctor or a healthcare professional. Every person's experience is unique, and the right care plan should be based on their individual needs. If you're still here watching this, it means you care deeply for someone in your life. And that alone is a beautiful thing. Facing the final stage of life isn't about giving up. It's about making sure the people we love feel safe, respected, and cherished in the time they have left. So take a deep breath. Hold on to the good moments. Know that your love, your presence, and your kindness mean more than anything else right now. Thank you for being here, for caring, and for wanting to make a difference. If this message speaks to you, share it with someone who might need it. You are not alone in this, and together we can navigate this time with wisdom, strength, and love.